of those days, guys. IVIG, my infusion days. If you guys aren't hip, I'll put a link in the description. You can go look at that video and get a feel for what's going on in my life, my health, all that stuff. But today, who cares about that? I'm tired, I'm ugly, but that's alright. You know why? I've got a good friend of mine here, Curtis, the one who put that seat in that I talked to you guys in our very recent video about. He fabricated everything that was necessary to make this boat a more comfortable ride and something that I am more inclined to get on more often. So thank you, my man.
Absolutely.
It couldn't have gone better.
My pleasure.
It couldn't have gone better, except for one little tweak that we're gonna make today. Essentially, I got the boat out and I got in and I heard a little blub, blub, blub. I kind of look back and I see a pool of water in there. It's not excessive, but just enough to, hey, we might need to fix this. So I called my man Curtis up, knowing he would be more than willing to check this out and maybe do some more work on it. So, what do you think, Curtis?
Yeah, we're gonna get it fixed up. We're gonna replace the mounts on the underneath side of the kayak to stop the water from coming in, and
real simple stuff.
Some other accessories too.
Hell yeah, and we'll talk about those in a minute. But for the most part, just replacing a couple of screws and nuts and just making it more waterproof so that we can get out there tomorrow, man.
I don't know if you can see in here.
Yep.
But what we've got is we've got a plumbing cap. The bolt goes through the plumbing cap, and then there's some silicone. Well, that works okay, but by using the rubber stoppers, the rubber will compress as we tighten them down and create a watertight seal. We're gonna throw on, oops, as I drop it under the seat. The silicone we put in there must have been bad. It never dried.
Man, that was just, I love how simple and concise the design was. And Curtis did this in like a day. The original construction, he did it in like one day. Plus the welding, you know, all in a very short time span. So I was really happy to get it back. And he actually hit me up. Let me turn this camera and talk. So after a long day on a local lake, I was out there actually fishing, and then I was thinking of Curtis because I was going to text him about what I saw in the bottom of the kayak, and right when I was going to do that, he actually messaged me. So I guess we were on that same thought pattern, like, hey, is the seat alright? You know, it's been used a couple of times, and now's where we make a true judgment as to the quality and construction of the seat. Obviously the bar that he welded is perfect. That's never gonna, nothing's ever gonna happen to that. But the tricky part is those scupper plug installations, because most boats have a different size scupper plug, different layout, and you just kind of have to finesse your construction. I don't have extensive knowledge on fabrication or a lot of the things that he's good at, so just happy he's here.
It's gonna come back.
Coming back to life. Alright, so those are rubber scupper plugs. Well, not scupper plugs per se, but they're kind of a universal rubber stopper that will act as a scupper plug for us today.
So these are actually 1.25" test tube stoppers.
Yeah.
For like labs. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and drill a hole through here so that our bolt will go through it. These are our bolts here. So we're gonna drill a hole so our bolt goes through it. Comes up from underneath the boat in the scupper hole. The bolt will be sticking out the top. Set the seat back on it. Tighten it down. And as it tightens down, it's gonna squash this rubber plug and create a seal around the bottom of the scupper hole.
That's awesome.
So there's the scupper hole. You can see how neatly they sit in the top. Basically same thing in the bottom. The bottom's actually a little bit tighter. So we're gonna invert it, bring it up from the bottom, bolt through it, done.
You're done for.
Ready for bolt.
Curtis, where did you learn to be so resourceful?
My family, we do all of our own home repairs and whatnot. So just years of learning how to do stuff around the house and then just applying it elsewhere. All right, let's go ahead and lean this up.
And obviously, if you need my hands for anything other than filming right now, I am more than free. Please let me know.
Nah, we're good. We're gonna push this plug in here so it stays, and a lock washer. We may have to push that side up a little bit more to get it tightened. All right, now we're gonna throw on wing nut. We could have used a regular nut, but I wanted, you need to tighten or take the seat out water side. I wanted you to be able to do it by hand or worst case scenario with your pliers, Leatherman, you know, whatever you typically have on your boat.
That's really all there is to it, is a bolt, washers, a lock nut, and then the real magic here is this fabricated seat pedestal that you can see right there. See the joint there?
Bracket comes down. Well, this bar didn't exist. The 2 risers and then the flat plate. That should be good. And then if it needs to go any more, I'm gonna have to swap out the wing nuts for regular nuts, where I can actually torque on them. It ain't going nowhere. All right.
Yeah, that should be it. The only other thing we might need to add is some sort of extra silicone, maybe a different kind this time, once we get it permanent. What's next here? Painter's tape? I don't know what that's for. Probably something.
Sharpie.
Sharpie, probably for measuring and installing things, I'd assume.
So what we're gonna do is, to make sure that we do this once, we do it right, we don't have issues.
Yeah.
It's already got a hole where the tag is. We can cut the tag off, put another hole at the other end, so we've got a hole at each end. Then you need to drill holes for additional screws. No more than 4 inches between any 2 screws. Okay?
Keep it stable and even.
Yes. And then those holes should be big enough that your screw drops through the hole. Your screw should not screw into this. It should just fall right through.
'Cause that's a rigid plastic, probably crack if you were.
Yeah, and they'll want to separate when you start to screw it into the boat. So then what we do is, once we decide where we want it on the boat, we've got our holes in our track. We put tape down on the boat. We put the track exactly where we want it. We take the Sharpie and we put a dot in each hole. Then we take a smaller drill bit and we drill pilot holes in the boat. Take the track off. You've got your marks on the tape. Drill small pilot holes in the boat. And then you pull the tape off, put the track down, run the screws in, tighten them up. Done.
So yeah, we've got the tape underneath the pre-drilled slots for the screws that are going to go in there. Now we're just marking them up and we're going to drill them, take the tape off as Curtis said before.
We use painter's tape because painter's tape comes off so easy.
Yeah, that's the common sense folks need in their lives. Thanks, Curtis. Gotta help the world one fishing project at a time.
So if the thickness of the wall of the plastic you're putting screws into is a 1/4 inch or more, and you use the proper screw, don't use a metal screw, use a wood screw, so it's a coarser thread. As long as it's a 1/4 inch thick, you can run a screw right into it. If it's less than a 1/4 inch thick, you need a backer of some sort behind the plastic to hold it.
Sweet.
Yeet!
Curtis has all the knowledge of what to go in there.
I'm telling you, anything you can think of, you can put in there. If you go, hey, I want my phone to be accessible, they make a phone mount for it.
And you said RAM mounts were accessible on these too.
Absolutely. They make a RAM ball that comes with the tab that goes in here already, that you just slide it in, turn the RAM ball until it tightens down, now you have a RAM mount wherever you want it.
And you can get multiple RAM mounts.
Yeah, as many as you want.
That's right.
Scotty,
best mount in the game.
The company that makes these also makes a Scotty Mount, which is like this, it goes in, tightens down, and it's a socket, right? So like we were talking about your GoPro.
Yeah.
If you have to take your GoPro battery off, it might be good to use the Scotty Mount on that, because the Scotty Mount it's a star. You put it in and turn it like a half turn, and it locks. But then to get it out, you don't have to take the whole thing off. You can grab a hold of your pole, turn it a half turn, pick it right out.
Nice.
So
nice.
Scotty makes those for these as well.
Scotty, all right, Scotty. We're gonna be looking for you, Scotty. Where can I find Scotty?
Amazon.
All right.
Yep, you can find them on Amazon.
Yeah, so this is the last mount that we're going to place on the boat. It's kind of special because it's going to have a mount for an underwater GoPro and for a transducer, so we can get out there with a depth finder for once. So we can go to new lakes and not have to fish blind. You feel me? So that's going to go off the side of the kayak so that he has this accessory rail that goes there, and then he's going to fabricate and weld a mount that goes off the side into the water. So it's removable, so we just take that off at the end of our day, put it back on at the beginning of our next trip, and it's going to be able to connect to a depth finder that we're going to install at a later time. Can only have this man for so long. His wife needs him, so we got to get him out of here soon. But like I said, look forward to this plastics video we're going to do soon, and hopefully you guys are learning as Curtis helps me learn as well. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. He's just finishing up the last of it. We're putting a little paddle holder in there, which I'll show you guys right quick before he heads out. But thank you for joining me, as always, on Water Warrior Fishing. Let's show you this last piece, and then we're going to say goodbye.
Paddle keeper. The paddle goes in between them, pushes down through, and it gets held underneath here. So, but anything that goes on these rails, the way it works is you have this flat-sided, basically washer. It's basically just like a washer cut. But it does have a screw attached to it. Any accessory you buy is threaded. So all that happens is this goes in here, start it just a little bit. Now he wants his paddle keeper on this side. So with it loose, you see this gap? I just slide it in the rail here to wherever I want it, spin it till it tightens down. Bam, paddle keeper done.
Ha! Love it. And with that, we're going to let Curtis go live his life and stop being bothered with my minuscule projects here.
Not a bother at all. It's an honor to work with Water Warrior. He's going to teach me some stuff. I'm teaching him some stuff. So it's going to be a great partnership.
We're going to get at it. He's just got a big boy schedule. I've got my figuring out my life schedule. And, you know, therefore I've got some more time in the weekdays. He has less time in the weekdays. But thank you so much again, Curtis. We're going to get you home now to the wife, bro. Don't want to get you in trouble.
It's a pleasure.
Anytime, man, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Absolutely. I'll catch you later.
His channel is in the link, guys. Check it out and sub today. Thank you.